hiving based on ethnic issues. Now, let me get into the meat of the debate. What are scheduled areas? First of all, because Indian Constitution offers a lot of protection. Under the scheduled areas, it refers to safeguarding culture and ethnicity of the tribal population, and 5th and 6th schedule determine the authority of specific regions. These are respective areas where the local population can self-govern. Specifically in the 6th schedule, it lists 10 tribal areas that include Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. Each tribal area is an autonomous district and each district has an autonomous district council. In the 5th schedule, it guards the tribal population interest on all scheduled areas of the country except Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. However, the 6th schedule does not apply to Manipur. Although Manipur went through the same phase of governance division when the British took over the region in 1891, somehow its hill areas were never covered under the 6th schedule. In December 71, Parliament passed the Manipur Hill Area District Council Act, and at that time Manipur was a union territory. Manipur is governed by Article 371C. It created a Hill Area Committee with elected members. The Act paved the way for creation of autonomous district councils or ADCs in Manipur Hill areas. So what is the difference between ADC versus 6th schedule? It is one, it lacks teeth. It's dependent on the state assembly. Powers are limited to personal laws. They need nod of HAC and the assembly for lawmaking. So the fact of the matter right now is, it will be impossible for the centre to accept the demands of the Kuki-Zo community within the existing framework of the constitution. So the big question is, can 6th schedule within Manipur be explored to resolve the issue? And on this, let me straight away go to Dr. Tombing, Assistant Professor, National Law University, and I am joined by Group Captain Nandakumar Sharma and P.K. Mishra, former ADG BSF. Mr. Tombing, why union territory is being insisted upon when 6th schedule, 5th schedule can be implemented?
Good afternoon to all. This is a new development, and then I think we are going into the nuances of tribal governance now. So in that way, maybe this is where the big concern may finally have to be coming up as well. And if we remember, just before the May 3rd mayhem, there were there was a probability of maybe the 6th schedule would be extended in Manipur as well. But then the way Manipur has been conceived under Article 371C, it neither was a 6th schedule, but then it talks of an idea of a hill area committee and also a certain kind of autonomous district council. That is how the tribal areas administration has been imagined. And therefore, in pursuance to that, with the coming of the state as well, the Hill District Council was to be established, but then the way it was drafted was also, from the beginning itself, the tribal communities have a reservation because it, according to them, it lacks teeth. It does not have legislative powers like which usually any 6th schedule would have, and also certain financial allocation concern also were there, and therefore it does affect the very essence of what tribal administration was also about. And this was allowed to continue from 172 onwards till 2022-23, and this has led to many gaps in how tribal areas has been administered. Thereby, there is a total confusion of what is constitutional duties under Article 51 capital A as well, with regard to environmental issues, protections of other concerns of national ways of life, etc., etc.
No, but my real issue is, why can't the solutions work within the territorial boundary of Manipur? Mr. Sharma, isn't that possible? I mean, so there are so many provisions in our constitution which talk about which enable autonomy, which enable decision making, why can't they be accepted?
Kartikeya, as you said rightly, the provisions given in the Constitution as per Article 371C, it clearly lays down the autonomous hill district council.
I think there's a bit of a freeze on part of Mr. Sharma. Are you there with me?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm there.
Mishra here.
Okay. Nandkumar Sharma, please complete. Please complete.
Yeah. So there is no problem regarding having a separate hill district, separate sixth schedule, or since it has already Article 371C. So it's a governor can issue any gazettes or any ordinance or impose whatever they like. But present scenario, it doesn't matter anything whether a sixth schedule or not. The present scenario is
There's a bit of an audio issue. Dr. Mishra, why is there such deep insistence on union territory, and why are these groups now openly sending WhatsApp messages saying that, let's internationalize the issue, let's have a referendum? I mean to say, the issue is about peace. It's the whole idea of having a separate administration was not there. I have covered this entire thing. It was just not there. It was just about more local autonomy.
Yes, in fact, it was earlier not there, and you have covered it since long. And I am telling you, Manipur is governed under Article 371C, and 6th schedule is not applied here. And if you are thinking that you want a separate administration for which places? Do you think Tamenglong totally belong to you? Do you think Ukhrul totally belong to you? Do you think Chandel totally belong to you? We have Nagas, Naga, Ukhrul, Tamenglong, Senapati, Chandel. These are also Naga-dominated areas. So today you are asking for this separate administration. Now tomorrow Nagas will also ask for separate administration. First of all, better accept the real scenario. The peace should come. The talk, the dialogue must continue. All the MLAs of Kuki MLAs must come forward for a discussion with the government, with the mighty MLAs. That is the only alternative. And the way I've been today also, I find out from Kankopi and those areas, NH2 is totally blocked. Why are you blocking it? Don't you think you are going against the state's interest? It is against your own interest. Your children falling sick, they cannot go to RIMS. You want to fly to some places, you have to go to Mizoram. You cannot go to Imphal to take a flight. Your children cannot, your students cannot go to that university, Imphal University to study. Why are you blocking it? What will you gain? And you see the commodity, the price of commodity, it has gone up to double. It is totally doubled now. So what will you do you think you will gain anything? Earlier it was not that. So all Kukis and Meitis were so good friends. I've never found any problem with both of them. Anyway, if it has happened, let us come down for a dialogue. But this is not the way to block NH and ask for 6th schedule and ask for separate administration. It will never be, because Constitution doesn't tell that, and it will never be admitted. It will never be done as Mr. Shah has stated, and there should be some other way to have discussion. Let them come forward for a discussion, and let us not just go for violence. Violence will not yield any result. That's the only way they must come forward. And first of all, they must try to bring back peace in Manipur. They must try to open all the Jiribam and Dimapur National Highway. That is in the interest of all Manipuris. You have to take pride that you are Manipuris. You may be Kukis, you may be Nagas, you may be Pongals, you may be Muslims, you may be Maitis. You are Manipuris and Indians. Take pride in that. And that is what
Dr. Mishra has a point. I mean to say, the modes of governance can be discussed later. But right
Yeah.
now the issue is to ensure complete normalcy. If talks are stuck over something like separate administration, which you know is not going to happen, then actually you're prolonging the conflict. In fact, you're freezing the conflict. I would say it becomes like a frozen conflict.
Yeah.
Dr. Toming.
Absolutely correct.
Dr. Toming.
And,
Dr. Toming.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually when the matter escalates and it goes from bad to worse, usually in such a situation, nobody ever anticipated that maybe when the mayhem was unleashed, it would have lasted for so long, and then the mayhem would have happened to that level of scale. So this is something which no one could have seen it into the future as well. And we must understand that the history of Northeast and secessionist movement has to do with a certain response of maybe the government of India, the Union of India at the union level. Because today also, what was very surprising and concerning for me was that when Professor Bimola Koijam, MP from Manipur, when he asked for a permission to ask question in the Lok Sabha regarding Manipur, the chair simply said that this issue cannot be raised here. So if you go back to the MNF movement also, there was a Mautam concern from a Mizo Relief Fund Committee. They turned up into Mizoram National Front as well. And likewise, Nadaga movement also, why they picked up arm has to do with the way Nehru has responded to a certain queries and then concern of the Naga people. So to simply rub it under the carpet and say, you are problem mongering people, etc., etc. But then we have to know the background to it. In fact, there was one very good article written by a Canadian expert who is from Manipur, Dr. Raj Singh. I think it was published in Sangha Express. Dr. Sharma might have already read it. He looked at the issue from a very realistic point of view. And in fact, it is very much in tune with what you're asking. If a hill area committee is enhanced and etc., he kind of predicted that there is unlikely to be any secessionist movement. But then anything lesser than that, it would send the entire Manipur into a secessionist mode, or maybe it is highly to make the entire Manipur unstable as well. And just as Mishra, our other panelists has said, the Naga question has to be looked into as well, because they have been in this particular demand for Nagalim concern and all that for a very long period now. And then 2015 was when they have signed the peace accord. There's also, as a Naga person, might be a concern that also may be there, that would the other communities bypass them in their demand for separate administration? So these questions are very well studied by this Dr. Singh, Raj Singh, a Manipuri Canadian expert. And therefore, why did we allow the mayhem to continue for this long? And because the war was too deep, therefore we have used, I'm borrowing it from Professor Koizam again, this is, the Manipur mayhem was the terminology first used. We allowed that mayhem to seep into our lives, into our genetic memory. Now, that is where the problem lies. And then today at the Lok Sabha, they simply said, this is not the place to raise this issue. Then where else should Manipur people go?
Fair point. You can quote Bimola Koijam and you can have your position on what happened in Lok Sabha. But, that's not the point of debate here or discussion here. My point of discussion is that the entire effort for peace cannot be beholden to grand moves. Peace always begins with baby steps. I mean to say, the hill groups, Mr. Sharma, cannot say we are not going to talk unless and until you are going to give me this, or you are going to give me this. I mean, that's how you cannot normalize the state. And you're talking about partition of a state. I mean, so we also have to factor in the aspiration of other communities. I'm not talking about the complexity, the Manipuri identity. After all, what constitutes Manipur? That is also very important, isn't that, Mr. Sharma?
Kartikeya, absolutely, you are right.
the peace process will continue. But on the process of making peace, you cannot block the national highways and make people's life difficult, not only for one community, for all the communities. See, the havoc happened on 8th May. The national highways, what had happened, the many security forces, the BSF and CRPF, they were injured. And who are supposed to ensure this safety of the people? There are more than 80,000 people, as mentioned many times in your program by different panelists and including you. These central forces, they are supposed to guard these national highways. And also, you would be surprised to know, Mr. Sir, he must be aware that these central forces, they get CI ops, that is counter-intelligence ops allowance. And Jawan gets minimum of 12,000 rupees per month, which is a heavy amount. And if you count 80,000 multiplied by 12,000, it will amount to 96 crore. Every month, 96 crore had been spent to these central security forces. And see, not even 50 kilometers stretch of national highway is not able to protect. This is a mockery of the system. So the central government, earlier it was blamed to the state government. Now it is the government ruled by the center, and the chief secretary and the governor, they are responsible. They have all the command. They can depute all these jawans. Every 100 meters, jawan can be positioned. And it has happened in Srinagar. The situation in Srinagar, you know better than me, in 80s, 90s, and up to 2005. The situation was much worse. The people were armed, and they were attacking all the civilians and the security forces. Here, the security forces are not attacked. Only the Meitei communities are attacked. So it is very easy to handle such situation in Manipur by the central security forces. If center is not willing, including the governor and chief secretary of the Manipur, they must stop giving this CI ops allowance. That is minimum 12,000 officers get nearly 35 to 40,000.
This has gone to Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma, this has gone to a different. Mr. Sharma, you are taking to a different direction. I have allowed you to speak. I mean, that's not the focus of the discussion. The focus of the discussion is why can't the talks take place? I mean to say, why do you stick on this issue of separate administration? I mean to say
talks. You know, the Kuki community, they are stubborn and they say.
Mr. Mishra, why can't there should be some cooperation with the interlocutor? I mean, so it's very easy to say that center has not done this, center has not done this, center has not done this. I am no spokesperson of the center, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, the demand have to be reasonable also, na, Dr. Mishra?
Yes, you are correct. The demand has to be reasonable.
You can't blame everything on the center. It's very easy to say center ने नहीं किया, वो MHA ने नहीं किया, वो minister ने नहीं किया, वो bureaucrat ने नहीं किया. अरे demands भी तो reasonable होनी चाहिए.
But because of this demand,
Dr. Mishra. Dr. Mishra.
You see, the demand has to be reasonable. You can't just say that we want a separate administration like just now after that, the Nagas will also, I told you, Nagas are there in those districts, Sanapati, Ukrul, Tamenglong and Chandel. They will come up for another separate administration. This is no answer. It has to be reasonable. Okay, you want a hill autonomous council that can be looked after, and but anyway, you must come forward for discussion. That's not the way to just block the national highway. What Mr. Sharma was telling, he is also correct. It's not that we cannot open national highway. There must be something what the Honorable Governor and the Chief Secretary, they must be thinking about that, how to open it. But if they allow forces to guard the road, I told you, I have done personally as a DIG BSF Manipur opening Dimapur road in 24 hours with only 3 battalions.
Mishra, it's not, I don't think the peace in Manipur will come by opening roads. That's the
best thing, Karthikeya.
That's an important thing to take place. My whole idea of keeping this conversation on is that there has to be a conversation by people who are actually important. आप में 5 लोग बैठ के we can't bring peace in Manipur. That's the fact of the matter. People who matter should talk, and people who matter should actually take positions which can bend. The vertical positions are being taken, and there has to be public pressure on these people. from all, there should
Dialogue
be
and
public
discussion
pressure.
must continue.
There should be public pressure on these people that take positions that can bend, not take vertical position which can meet somewhere. I think that's the point I want to make in this on point. It is very important. Manipur might be northeast, but it fundamentally is a very important area. Rich cultural legacy, means a lot to everyone. And lastly, the peace must return. It's more than 2 years, and that's the responsibility of every Indian, apart from the Manipuris who stay there. And the CSOs who are exerting pressure must be pressurized that they should not create those pressures on elected lawmakers that vertical positions continue to exist and talks don't succeed. And that's all on Point tonight. Thank you for watching. Do tune in to News 9 for more live and updates.
Hello everyone. We have the biggest announcement of 2025, especially for cricket fans. We're bringing a golden chance to win a free trip to the UK with your favorite legends. Suresh Raina, Shikhar Dhawan, Shahid Afridi, Chris Gale, Brett Lee. These legends won't just meet you, but you'll stay in the same hotel, travel in the same bus, and witness their practice sessions live.